The home ownership rate in Canada keeps going down. That's not my opinion. That's a fact that is very clear in the data from Stats Canada. And if something doesn't get done soon, and I don't just mean taxing more things, because obviously that doesn't work, it's going to keep happening. And we're going to get to a point where you're going to look around, and it might be a 50-50 split between homeowners and renters. It's almost been 3 years now since our most recent election here in Canada, and that was September 2021 when the Liberals won. And heading into that election, the biggest talking point was housing. How are we going to make housing more affordable for first-time homebuyers? How are we going to help the average Canadian find a way to get into the market? I thought it'd be interesting to go back to a document that the Liberals released in August of 2021, heading into that election, for their housing plan, what they were going to do to make housing more affordable. My name's Tom Story. Welcome back to the channel. If you like this type of content, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you are looking to make a move in the Toronto market, you can go to the first link in the description and book a call with me at a time that works for you. Let's dive right in and see what Canadians were promised, at least in terms of housing, almost 3 years ago. Okay, so this was called A Home for Everybody, the Liberal Housing Plan. So if we scroll down here a little bit, let's just start with unlock home ownership. That was the biggest thing. That's the first thing that they talked about in this document. They're saying that young Canadians aren't asking for a free house. They're asking for a fair shot. Their plan 3 years ago was to help people save up to $30,000, and here's how they're going to do it. Okay, they're going to help renters become owners by committing $1 billion in loans, grants to develop and scale up a rent-to-own project. If anybody knows how rent-to-own actually works, you'd understand that it's not actually a very good option for people trying to enter the market. They said they would do this in 5 years or less. They are into year 3. I'm not personally aware of any success in the number one category here. In fact, if you look at the home ownership rate in Canada and what the government's doing right now and what's being built, it actually seems to be going the other direction. It seems to be that they're saying we want more people to rent versus being homeowners based on what's actually being built, the new housing stock coming to the market. Number 2, got to give them credit here. This was good. I don't care where you stand politically. Helping young Canadians afford a down payment faster. The tax-free first home savings account, which will allow Canadians under 40 to save up to $40,000 towards their first home. This is really, really good. It took the RRSP and the TFSA and took the best of both of it and gave access to first-time home buyers that were looking to save money for a down payment. I got nothing to really say bad about this. This is actually great if you are someone that is looking to get into the market and you don't have a first home savings account set up already. I would highly, highly recommend it. Number 3, they said make the first-time home buyers incentive more flexible to give Canadians the option of a deferred mortgage loan as an alternative to the current shared equity model and reduce their monthly mortgage payment. Now, tell me if you know in the comments something that I don't. I'm not aware of any program like this, or at least any program that any Canadians are actually taking advantage of. Obviously, as of August 1st, you got the new 30-year amortizations, which the government would probably say, well, hey, that's helping more people get into the market. Yeah, I mean, they're just paying more interest over a longer period of time, and you made it only for new homes, which is silly. If you made it for resale, I think that's something that we could have had a real conversation about. They're talking about unlocking home ownership, building more homes, and protecting your rights. So far we've covered the top 3 with unlocking home ownership. Let's scroll down a little bit further. We'll wrap up with the last 2 for unlocking home ownership. Was the helping Canadians save on closing costs by doubling the first-time home buyer tax credit from $5,000 to $10,000. That did happen. So that's good. Okay. Got to give credit where credit is due. Reduce monthly mortgage costs. Now, obviously, you would read that line and you kind of laugh at it. This is talking about insurance, bringing down the mortgage insurance by 25%. Okay, so we've covered the first category, these 5 things. And if we go back, we go, okay, help renters become homeowners. I don't really think that's happened at all. Help young Canadians save for a down payment faster. Yes, introducing this account has actually benefited some first-time home buyers. I will give full credit on that. Make the first-time home buyer credit incentive more flexible. Again, I'm not aware of any success for number 3 here. If we scroll down, helping save Canadians on closing costs with the tax credit. Okay, that did come into place. And reducing the monthly mortgage costs. I am not aware, and again, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I didn't think mortgage insurance came down by 25%. I'll reach out to the people I know at Sagen and see what they say about that. But those were the first 5 things. Now let's look on the right side of the screen here and see what they said about protecting your rights as a Canadian. Okay, so the Home Buyers Bill of Rights, that will, number 1, ban blind bidding. I can tell you for certain that never happened, and frankly, it shouldn't happen. If you actually do research on open bidding and understand how it works, and we have proof of this, banning blind bidding doesn't stop prices from going up. Supply and demand and interest rates and immigration and population growth is what dictates real estate prices, and obviously speculation, which is involved in there as well. Opening it up doesn't change a thing. Some people we've actually had say to us, oh man, if I had known it was only going to sell for that, I would have offered more. I'm telling you, and I know I'm a real estate agent, but I'm telling you, banning blind bidding will do absolutely nothing. I think most people that understand what's going on kind of realize that by now. Number 2 is establish a legal right for a home inspection. That also did not come into place, which I am, again, thankful for. Not because I don't think you should do a home inspection. I 100% think you should do a home inspection. I just don't think you should be forced to be told that you have to do it. That's my only beef with it. For total price transparency on the history of recent house sale prices. I believe most markets in Canada now, you can see the history of everything based on using specific apps and things like that. Require real estate agents to disclose to all participants in a transaction when they're involved in both sides of a potential sale. That is in the new regulation that we have here in Ontario, and I know BC got ahead of us on that anyways. And I'm going to jump down to the end here. Require mortgage lenders to fully inform buyers of the full range of financing choices and programs available. And I'd actually made a video specifically on mortgage renewals. I've already talked about this, but just to give you an update on this, if you are renewing a mortgage in 2024, you don't have to take the rate they send you. You can negotiate. You could change lenders. You just have to requalify. You can make a lump sum payment, or you could extend your amortization back to the beginning, which obviously brings down that monthly payment if you need short-term help. But long-term isn't maybe the best solution because you're just paying a lot more interest and you're basically restarting that loan. Okay, so finally, how are we going to build more homes? We're going to give cities the tools to speed up the housing construction through the accelerator program. This is all well and good, but right now in today's market, we can't build anything because buyers aren't buying it. And I'm just telling you, we're going to have an issue in a few years. Build and repair more affordable housing. I can't really comment on this. Let me know in the comments if this has gone anywhere, if you know someone in this industry. Convert empty office space into housing. I think Calgary did this a little bit, and it's been a conversation in Toronto, but our regulations and bylaws say that you have to then replace that office space again. So it's just not going to happen. It's not going to be the solution that people think it's going to be. Help generations of families live together by introducing the multi-generational home renovation tax. Let me know if you know anybody that has taken advantage of that. Support Indigenous housing and end chronic homelessness. I live in Toronto. I can tell just from driving around, it seems to me like homelessness has gotten a lot worse, or perhaps it's just because it's more visible because they're in the parks now and the tents and there's no regulation being done by the city about it. They're just allowing it. If you look through that document, you might actually say, hey, Tom, they did a lot of it. Obviously, they can't do everything, but they did a lot of it. I'd say most of the things they've done to actually help the housing market have just been taxes. It's just like the speculation tax. Yeah, sure, they banned the foreign buyers. I didn't even talk about that because it really made no difference. So they've moved forward on most of the tax side of things where we haven't seen any real movement. Again, this isn't just federally, right? Like we have to look at the municipalities as well and the provinces, but is the building of new homes. We can talk about it all day long. If you just tax, it's not going to help the housing situation long term. It's going to make it way worse. Everyone's just going to become a renter. It's going to be totally flipped on its head. For me, it always comes down to 3 fundamentals for housing here in Canada, things that I would be watching for to figure out where we could be going in the future. The first one would be interest rates. That's the Bank of Canada, okay? But that's the first thing. The second would be population growth. That is something that the federal government can control, and they are controlling, and it's gone up significantly. And there's lots of talk that if the government does change in 2025, those numbers will certainly come down. And the third thing is the unemployment rate. That's what all economists look at as the number one driving factor. We know that that number has been going up. That's why you've seen rate cuts here in Canada over the last few months, and while they'll probably continuously happen. So those are the 3 big pillars. We know immigration is still there at a very, very very rapid pace. Interest rates are high, but they are going down. And when the dust settles, they'll probably be in that mid-3 range for a period of time. And I'd love to see heading into 2025, when the next election happens, what all the parties say they're going to do. And then based who wins, and 3 years later, I'll do another video like this to see if they've actually made good on their promises. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments. My name's Tom Story. Thanks for watching. And remember, home is where your story begins.